MC, make another hit.
This ain't what you want.
Project.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Pick them sides, and you better choose wisely. That's my high. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw up your 5.
That's what I do. Family, once again, we are back with you with another one. Won't be long, but gotta get it out. Many of you might not know I am a veteran. Matter of fact, retired veteran at that. I did my little stint in the Army services, Fort Hood, Killeen, Texas. 99. I went in 99. Back in those days, it was pretty simple, to say the least. You had men, you had women. The men were men, the women were women. But that was 1999. This is 2024. Let me do the math. That's 21 years ago. Is that 21 years ago? 25 years ago. I knew something didn't add up. So, 25 years ago, since I've been in the United States Armed Services. So when I'm reading this article, because it's so different from now opposed to back when I was in the service, I said I gotta do a little broadcast on this because it disturbs me. And once you see it, I'm pretty sure it's gonna disturb you, just as just basic human beings, you know, just basic human beings, man, woman, and it's nothing new. It's everywhere, but for me, it hits a little deeper, like I said, because as a man who was in the United States Army, I'm like, how do you think this is going to turn out? In my mind, I'm thinking, how do you think this is going to? And let me show you.
Banned most transgender Americans from joining the U.S. military. Shortly after his inauguration, Joe Biden reversed the policy prohibiting discrimination against transgender troops who simply want to serve their country. Well, on that very same day, Lieutenant Colonel Bree Fram came out publicly as transgender while in a command position. She's now one of the highest ranking openly transgender officers in the U.S. military and in the Department of Defense as an astronautical engineer in the U.S. Space Force. She joins us now on Perspective. Lieutenant Colonel Fram, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So between 2019 and 2021, if I understand correctly, you actually served through Donald Trump's transgender military ban, which itself was a reversal of the Obama administration's policy. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, I've served now 19 years in the military and seen quite the roller coaster of policy changes from the first time service was opened in 2016 through the years where we had a ban on transgender service again, where we had basically...
I'm going to stop right there just to talk to your family. Now, like I said, I was a serviceman. I'm a veteran. For all of you who believe in democracy, for all of you who believe in fighting for your country, safety, you know, to defend against any enemies abroad and any enemies domestic, you typically think that that's pretty basic, pretty clear and cut. You're going to have men, for the most part, you know, holding the line. Men. You know, when you do the draft, the draft is really still for men. When they do the draft, it's for men. So, and that's, you know, what I don't understand about the whole feminist movement of my body, my choice. And they say men don't have to deal with somebody taking control of their body. Well, that's not all true because, like I said, when they, you know, call you for the draft, you got to show up. Your body, your whole body. You as a male individual, you have to show up, or you'll, you know, could go to prison for it. But so you have a man here who's clearly a man who's been in the service for 19 years. And he now identifies as a woman. And he's been able to move up in ranks and have people under his command as now a woman. That should bother you. It really should. If it does not bother you, then it bothers me that it doesn't bother you. But let's listen.
Taken a step to reinstitutionalize discrimination. And that was a definite challenge to serve through that time. But I'm so thankful for the people around me, the people I've had the honor to lead, and the people I've worked for, all having so much support for me and for other transgender troops.
And Lieutenant Colonel, do you think that being able to serve openly, do you see any changes in the mindsets of your colleagues?
I think there have been huge changes in the minds of the military over the past 6 or 7 years with regards to transgender service. And in an ironic way, I look back at...
No, sir, because you're a sir. No, there's no change. 99.9%. And I'm just talking about the ratio of men that you talk to in the military. If they're honest with you, if you ask them, if you say, hey, how do you feel about an obvious man who now identifies as a woman being a part of your unit? They're going to say, I don't like that. I don't think that's a cool idea because in the military, it's all about having one another's back. It's all about a common, for the most part, a common ideology, you know, to serve and protect. So when you have a man who's dealing with predominantly from a majority standpoint, men, and now they decide that I'm going to now identify as a woman, the weaker vessel. Women can't do what men do physically. You got to be physically fit. The weaker vessel, how do you expect them to look at you? Do you expect them to look at you in a respectful, in an honorable way? It's just not going to happen. You can't even ask any man to do that. You got to be the best of the best physically, mentally, spiritually, you name it, because you're there to serve and protect. And how do you serve and protect? With your physical ability, with your mental ability as a man, because we are stronger. So no, I don't believe that a lot of people, especially men, are looking at this as something courageous or something that, you know, they're going to support.
The actions that President Trump took, and I say thank you, because when he tweeted that transgender people were a burden on the military, about 50% of the American public and 50%...
Well, he didn't tell any lie. He didn't lie. They are a burden. But listen, they're not just a burden on the military, sir. You're a burden to society. Plain and simple, you are a burden to society because you are an individual who, in my opinion, and in all studies since, you know, besides, you know, here recent, have shown that there's something mental upstairs for anybody to want to be transformed from what they're naturally birth certificate identifies them as to being the opposite. It's pretty simple. So no, you're not just, you know what I'm saying, when Trump tweeted what he tweeted in terms of being a burden, yes, you are being a burden, because the majority of servicemen and women, they're not going for this. The most of the people in society don't go for this. Is just that the programming is, we're going to make this seem as though it's welcomed by the majority, but it's not. And it never will be.
Of members of the military thought that transgender people should be able to serve. But what he did was shine a spotlight on our service, and all of a sudden, transgender people were everywhere in the media around the world doing their jobs, and that got out and it made a difference. A few weeks after he tweeted, popular opinion and in the military was up to 70% in support. Several years later, by the time the ban—
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Formally went into place in 2019, support was in the high 80% range.
That's a lie.
Okay, so you are also the co-editor of the book With Honor and Integrity, Transgender.
If what he's saying is true, which I know it's not, and 80% is supporting this, 80% of our servicemen and women are supporting this. If 80%, what he's saying, if 80% is true, you know what I'm saying, we're in trouble. I put it like that. We're in trouble. But like I said, I don't believe that, and he doesn't believe it, but he got to say it.
Troops, in their own words, from NYU Press, released November of last year. It offers 26 accounts of transgender service members who are currently serving. And I'm wondering, I imagine that lifting the ban didn't remove all of the barriers that transgender service members face in the military. Are there any challenges? And if so, what major challenges remain?
Yeah, there are certainly still challenges to people serving openly and authentically. And a lot of that is changing. It's changing for the better, because now that we actually have a chance to work with the policy that we have.
So this dude is saying that transgenders changing is going to be something for the betterment of, you know, the United States military. Men who want to identify as women, women who want to identify as men, who have to have a solid mind, who have to be able, who have to be reaction, who have to be really mentally a fighting machine. He's saying that it's going to make things better. That within itself is what you would call delusional.
To make improvements on it, make sure we're reducing administrative burden.
Look at this. I'm going to widen up the screen. Look at this. Look at this guy. That's a man. That is a man, a grown man who's been in the military for he's 19. He's about to do 20 years. He's a grown man, and he's in a position of power to give orders to servicemen and women.
On both transgender troops and their commanders, we can make a difference, because what we're really doing by enabling people to serve authentically is unlocking potential. And what any modern military needs now.
How, sir? What type of potential are you unlocking? You see how they, you know what I'm saying, play on words, and they, you know, say things that if you don't listen to it, you'll think that they're really saying something. He's not saying anything that makes sense. Locking potential. You unlock potential when you go through boot camp, when you go to AIT and you learn whatever skill, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have. I was an 88 Mike. 88 Mike is a truck driver. So, sir, what do you mean by this when you say unlocking potential? What potential are you talking about? What more potential do you need? The potential is going to be when you go and you go serve, and you know what I'm saying, you find out what you want to do in terms of, as a young man or a woman, when you enter, because most of us, when we go, we don't really know what we want to do. Most of us, you know what I'm saying, we're just trying to escape the boredom of being at home or being in a town that we've never been able to move from. All we know is this small town or this city, you know, or these friends, this school. That's all we know. So most of us got the same story in terms of, you know, serving in the military is to get away. But, you know what I'm saying, we were trying to get away to unlock our potential, not change our gender.
Now is brain power. And if people have to spend mental energy protecting their identity, that's energy they can't use to pursue the mission that they're given. So we need to bring in and retain the best and brightest who are capable of serving. And by putting effort into creating policy that works and works better now that we have a chance to do it.
So he's saying, this dude is saying that the policy works better now that you can come in and be free to identify as another gender. You see, he's saying the way it was not good enough and wasn't effective. Never mind that America, you know what I'm saying, is a superpower. Never mind that America has been fighting wars since forever. Never had an issue winning wars and fighting wars. Never, oh, well, we need to win more wars, you know what I'm saying, because we're losing because too many men are identifying as men and too many women are identifying as women. So let's just, you know, bring in the transgenders and let them come in and they'll, you know what I'm saying, make for a better fighting soldier. Are you serious? No, sir. No. You can't be serious.
We can truly drive that 21st century military that we need to succeed.
Do you think that, I don't know how much you can speak to this, but since you have served abroad before, how do you think U.S. policies on transgender service members compares to other major world armies? I'm thinking here in France, for example, it would be probably, I don't think there's any conversations at all about the LGBTQ plus community serving in the military. So how do you think the U.S. compares?
The U.S., when it first put in open transgender service, was one of approximately 17 or 18 countries that had transgender service. And what we've seen through our allies, through all those partners that have had trans service.
Watch him lie. He said, he said, what have we seen? Watch him lie.
And the experiences we've had in the United States is that transgender people serving add to the diversity, the complexity, and the capabilities of a military. Because
how? You see, I told you he's gonna lie. How? How does it add to anything? There aren't any complexities to the military. You know what I'm saying? You go, you learn your how to shoot, you learn how to defend, you learn how to be alert. You can do this as a serviceman or woman. Of course, the man can do it better because, you know what I'm saying, the man is stronger. He's got, you know what I'm saying, he can, you know, it's men who can stay up 24 hours on alert. It's men who can go to war first, to die, to shoot, to kill. So what is he talking about? Women, they can do their thing too. But they can't do it better trying to be a man, and a man definitely can't do, you know what I'm saying, fulfill his task better by trying to identify as a woman. So no, sir, everything you're saying is a flat out lie.
Because any nation that limits who it can choose from when they're otherwise capable of serving is making that choice to be less than it otherwise could be. If there are skills and capabilities out there and there happen to be in a transgender body, I want that kind of person serving next to me.
If they happen to be in a transgender body, if there are skills out, so what are you saying? If there are certain skills, you see how they try to program you into thinking really, you know what I'm saying, that there's certain skills that a transgender would be best qualified for because they're transgender. No, sir. No. It doesn't work like that. The skills that you have that you're best qualified for is going to be the skills that you're capable of doing, whether it be a serviceman or woman. You know what I'm saying, whatever your skill set is, your skill level, you as an individual.
They want to serve.
And you, I want to change gears now because you're also an active duty astronautical engineer in the U.S. Space Force. You've got your uniform on. It's the Space Service branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. For those of our viewers who aren't familiar with it, what exactly does the Space Force do? What are its priorities?
Well, the Space Force was formed to defend basically our modern way of life. We understand that the United States and so many advanced nations around the world.
This guy, this is a man. Look at him. A man who now identifies as a woman.
Basically can't go a day without space. And the United States and others rely on our space assets. The Space Force is there to not only design, build, and operate those critical assets like the Global Positioning System, military communications, and so many others, but also to defend them and to be there in case conflict ever does extend into space. And we're there to have those space.
So basically, there's five. Well, now because of the space program, there are now 6 branches of the military. It was 5 for the longest. I think the branch of military, space came about probably maybe I think under Trump's. It hasn't been in existence for too long. But anyway, they put him in position of power over that. You know what I'm saying, over the military unit, in space, because of course, that's probably, that'll probably be a spot that's best suited for a transgender.
Space-minded individuals who can really think about the ways that we are going to defend our assets and be able to keep our modern way of life safe.
Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Briefram, I'm so sorry. That's unfortunately all we have time for today, but thank you so much for coming on.
This guy's he's a lieutenant colonel. Do you know how high that is? That's right below a major. I mean, general.
Perspective.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's nearly.
That's one of the highest position, and I'm pretty sure they really can't keep him from gaining rank because he's a transgender. If they say no, if they say, you weren't competent enough to fulfill this position, they can't even rate him the same way they would a normal serviceman or a normal servicewoman. Even though now he identifies as a woman, they're going to, have him competing with women. And so the first thing, he'll have to his advantage, his arsenal is to say, well, I didn't get promoted or I didn't get the assignment because they're discriminating against me being a transgender. So that's what Trump was saying when he made that statement about them. That's what you got to deal with. You deal with that from women. Yeah, you do. You deal with that from women. And these guys, these transgenders, they'll probably be able to move up faster than a woman because, it's just the position of them being a transgender. They got the unique complaint, which is, I deserve it. I must not have gotten it because I'm a transgender. So now, well, keep from, having to deal with a lot of attention, a lot of questions. We just got to give it to him. Gotta give it to him. He's walking around in heels. He has a purse. We know he's a man, but by law, we got to identify with him as being a woman. Family. This is the world we are living in. This is the military. The military now. The military. Your armed forces, fighting force. This is that was a lieutenant colonel. He gives orders. Wow. Well, be sure if you want some merch, go to www.twidware.com. If you want to follow us, please follow us on YouTube at Twid dash. It's at the bottom. That's what I do. That's how you spell it. That's what I do. And subscribe and support the channel. Until next time, remember, we focus on the 5 points of life: faith, beliefs, manhood, common sense, and religion. You don't have to have all of them, you know what I'm saying? But you better have some of them, and not religion. Till next time, take care, be blessed. All praise to the Most High.